So hello guys, welcome to yet another video. Long time no see, I'm sorry. I had a lot of trouble recording. I am re-recording this right now. I also had guests, so that delayed the process of uploading this video for a very long time. Anyways, we're back and welcome back to the Witchcrafter Fairytale guide. Now this is going to be a very big guide, so I have to separate it in different chapters. So the first chapter will be deep dive into the cards. So we will be looking at each card and see what they do. But I will be only going over the cards that I didn't go over in my Fairytale guide. If you guys haven't seen my Fairytale guide and don't know what the Fairytale cards do yet, please go ahead and check that video out. It will be at the top right of this video. Next chapter will be deck list details and ratios. After that, we will go into the strengths, weaknesses, and choke points of the deck. After that, we will go into why this is the best variant. And then after that, we will go into the side decking patterns and options. This part will be more broad. It's not only in this deck, because of course we have some options that are very default, so to say, like Cosmo Queen and Secret Village. But we also have some other cards that we can consider. And last but not least, the combos. And the combos, guys, let's just say they're crazy. Okay, so first, let's just start right off the bat with Witchcrafter Marka. So this is actually a card I recently put in. When I recorded the video the first time, this card was actually not in my list, and I will explain in a bit why. Let's just go over it real quick, okay? You can tribute this card from your hand or field, add one Witchcrafter, field, or continuous spell from your deck to your hand. If a face-up Witchcrafter monster you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, and if you do, tribute one monster your opponent controls. You can only use each effect of Marka once per turn. This is a really good card. So, I don't want to get into spoilers too much, but the Witchcrafter cards are extremely high quality. You could maybe even go as far as to say they are stronger fundamentally than the Fairytale cards. That is why we should abuse them to their most potential. Basically, why this is the case. This is because the Witchcrafter cards usually have two effects, and most of the time they have something to do with a spell, as you will see later. So this card basically searches you the field spell, which in this, or is it, this is the field spell. We will not go over it right now, we'll go over it later, but it searches the field spell, and then the field spell can continue. But then also when it's in your grave, on your opponent's turn, imagine your opponent removes anything, you just use this effect, you special summon it from the grave, and you tribute an opponent's monster, which is basically another interruption on top of what you already had. So it's a searcher and technically some sort of interruption. Very good in my opinion. So next, we go over SCHMITTA. During the main phase quick effect, you can tribute this card, then discard one spell. So the tributing this card and discarding a spell are cost, keep that in mind. Special summon one Witchcrafter monster from your deck, except Witchcrafter SCHMITTA. That's the first effect, and then also has a second effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, send one Witchcrafter card from your deck to the graveyard, except Witchcrafter SCHMITTA. You can only use each effect of Witchcrafter SCHMITTA once per turn. Guys, this is crazy. This is what I meant with basically all of the Witchcrafter cards have two effects, meaning they trade really well into interruptions. So also this being a quick effect, it means that you could potentially use this effect to special summon something from your deck that interrupts your opponent. For example, there is this card that a lot of people are playing, and I'm just going to cover it right now as well, potentially. But there is this card called Witchcrafter Hane. You could special summon it with Witchcrafter SCHMITTA in your opponent's turn, and this card basically says discard one spell, and then target one face-up card your opponent controls, then you can destroy it, basically. Only problem with Witchcrafter SCHMITTA, she is a starter because she basically gets you into any other Witchcrafter cards, which is full combo. Only problem is that discard one spell for cost is rough, because if this card does get ashed, because it does of course special summon from the deck, you are in a bad position because you just use your normal summon, discarded, and so you basically lost the body on the field and a card from hand, so you basically went -2. Not very great, but it is a starter. Next up, let's go over Witchcrafter Seed. So if this card is normal or special summoned, and you control a Witchcrafter monster other than Witchcrafter Seed or Regulus the Prince of Endymion, you can target one face-up card on the field, return it to the hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard, this is the second effect I'm reading by the way, reveal any number of cards in your hand, including a spell, and shuffle them into the deck, and then draw that many cards. Are we for real, guys? Are we serious? So this card basically gives you the option to mulligan. in Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't think I have to tell you guys how strong this card is. Because if you can special summon this card in your opponent's turn, because it does say if this card is normal special summoned, you can basically target one face-up card on the field and then return it to the hand. It can be yours, it can be your opponent's, but basically what I'm trying to get to, this card is crazy. It's an interruption, and if you get it into your grave, if you really need to, you can just mulligan, quote unquote, for free. So next up, our long-awaited Ver, the Maid of Endymion. I don't even think I have to read this effect, guys, because we were all expecting this card in that one Battles of Legends Yu-Gi-Oh set, but we didn't get her. Anyways, she's around the corner now, so get excited, because this card is great. This card is always treated as a Witchcrafter card. Very important effect, because that means we can special summon this as a Witchcrafter monster. So if a card says special summon a Witchcrafter monster, you are able to special summon this specific card right here. Why this is very good? Let's see. First, this gains attack effect is never going to be relevant because we are not playing the Regulus, and I will be going later on to why. You can only use each effect of the following effect once per turn. During your main phase, if a spell card or effect was activated this turn, you can special summon this card from your hand. So basically, the effect of a spell doesn't have to resolve, it just had to be activated in the turn. So basically, if you go Ver and you get Ashed, and I mean Ver as in the spell Ver, like this Ver, you can still special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, so if this card is special summoned, you can add one Witchcrafter spell trap or one magical dimension from your deck to your hand. Amazing card, and I will be later going onto the qualities of the deck, but let me just say real quick, the options you have in this deck is kind of magical, because you have a lot of options that you can search when you play this specific version of the deck. So next up, we have Genni, the Maid of Endymion. And guys, same story as Ver, the Maid of Endymion, this card is always treated as a Witchcrafter monster. So if you control a spellcaster monster and this card is in your hand, you can special summon this card. So basically it is a free special summon if you already control a spellcaster. And guys, just to let you know, we are basically only playing spellcasters. So you can basically even normal summon draw and then proceed to special summon this Genni. And guys, the second effect, we have disrespected this card way too much because this card is so crazy, right? During the main phase, quick effect, you can target one spellcaster monster you control, banish it, and if you do, special summon one Witchcrafter monster from your deck except Genni, the Maid of Endymion. You can only use each effect once per turn. But guys, so imagine if you want to use an effect, for example, on the field of a Witchcrafter monster, and your opponent chains Imperm and targets that Witchcrafter monster. If the Genni is on the field, you can activate her effect, so the quick effect, you target that monster that has been targeted with Imperm, and it will be banished before the Imperm resolves. So you basically dodge the Imperm. Keep in mind though, the banish is not for cost, the target is for cost. Anyways, crazy card. Really, we have to put respect on this card's name. Next up, this card is kind of familiar to us because we used to play it in another Fairytail version. Witchcrafter Genni. So basically these two cards, I think it's the same person by the way. During the main phase, quick effect, you contribute this card and discard one spell. Special summon one Witchcrafter monster from your deck except Witchcrafter Genni. So basically we could not use this effect in our old Witchcrafter deck, mostly because we didn't really have a target to special summon with this specific card. But now we play so many different Witchcrafter cards that even this card is a pretty good normal summon. You can banish this card and one Witchcrafter spell from your graveyard. This effect becomes that spell's effect when that card is activated. You can only use each effect once per turn. Quick rundown. Many people who already played the old Fairytail version already know how this card works. If you have this card in the graveyard and you have, for example, this card in the graveyard, you can just activate the effect of the spell card, ignoring its condition. Because, for example, the second effect really can only be activated when your opponent activates a card or effect. But if you are using it with this card, you can just activate it without the condition needing to be fulfilled. Next up, we have Witchcrafter Creation, and I'm not gonna overcomplicate it too much. It just adds a Witchcrafter monster from your deck, and in the end phase, it can be added back to the hand if you control a Witchcrafter monster. Next up, I will be going over this card once again, but this is Very Magic Lacrima of Light. This card is always treated as a Magistus and a Witchcrafter card. Keep that in mind, guys. It does come up because you can still search it with other cards, such as, for example, Ver, the Maiden of Endymion. You can activate one of these effects but you can only use each effect once per turn. If you control a Magistus or Witchcrafter monster, send one Spellcaster monster or one spell from your deck to the graveyard. Very good, because now you have multiple targets for this effect, because we also have multiple cards now that activate their effects in the graveyard. When your opponent activates a card or effect, special summon one Magistus or Witchcrafter monster from your deck to your hand. Extremely good extender, and of course this effect can be used with this card as explained earlier. So next up we have a very fun new card called Witchcrafter Celebration. Activate one of these effects. Destroy one Witchcrafter monster you control and one card your opponent controls. Now, as you can see, it can be used as a breaker and an interruption, but that's not all. Fusion summon one Witchcrafter fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling Spellcaster monsters from your graveyard and /or banishment into the deck, meaning you finally also get to recycle banished Fairytail names. This card adds a lot of skill expression into this deck because there's a lot of resource control management. This is what gives the deck... Okay, you know what? Let me not spoil it too much. Let's just read the effect. During the end phase, if you control Witchcrafter monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand, and you can only use one effect per turn and only once that turn. Hope that is clear. Also, if a judge is watching the video, why did they have to specify that you have to fusion summon a fusion monster? Why couldn't they just say fusion summon one Witchcrafter monster? Like, you cannot fusion summon a synchro monster. Well, anyways, next card, Witchcrafter Walpurgis. This is, I believe, a reference to the anime Madoka Magica. Basically, during your main phase, you can add one Witchcrafter monster from your deck to your hand, then discard one card. This can be pretty nice because you can discard a card that has an effect in the graveyard. You can only use this effect of Witchcrafter Walpurgis once per turn. During your turn, if you would discard to activate the effect of a Witchcrafter monster you control, you can send one Witchcrafter spell/trap from your deck to the graveyard instead, except Witchcrafter Walpurgis. Extremely strong card. Again, it gets you started, and it also reduces the hit of, for example, normal summoning SCHMITTA to use her effect. So now let's go over the extra deck. So first of all, let's go over the old Witchcrafter fusion called Witchcrafter Vice Madam. It requires one Witchcrafter monster plus one Spellcaster monster, and that is very nice because this card actually shuffles back from banishment and/or graveyard to fusion summon. So basically, you can potentially use Wicad as the Spellcaster material to then, even though you're just playing one Wicad, you can resolve her the next turn because you just, XYZ summon into her. Then, when a spell card or effect or a non-fusion Spellcaster monster is activated, quick effect, you can activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect once per turn. Destroy one card on the field, special summon one level 6 or lower Witchcrafter monster from your hand or deck, and then add one Witchcrafter spell/trap from your graveyard to your hand. All the effects are very good here. And just to go quickly over why, destroy one card on the field is just good overall. It's not on target, it's very nice. Other effects, special summon one level 6 or lower Witchcrafter monster. You basically special summon this card and then you get a free bounce, so that's like 2 interruptions. And then also add one Witchcrafter spell/trap. So basically you can add this card right here from your graveyard, and then you use the brand new fusion monster called Witchcrafter Pupils to then reveal one Witchcrafter normal or quick play spell in your hand and then apply that spell's activation effect. So basically you apply the effect to destroy another card on their field. I already kind of spoiled what this card does, but this is the brand new fusion. It requires also one Witchcrafter monster and one Spellcaster monster. During the main or battle phase quick effect, you can activate one of these effects. I already read one of them, but the other one is basically add one Witchcrafter spell from your deck to your hand. During your end phase, you can return one of your banished Witchcrafter cards to the graveyard. Pretty good. That is basically it, but I will go over cards that are a little bit unusual. Exit the Night, basically you get locked into Spellcasters way slower now, and you still have a lot of level 4s, so you can just overlay into a quick board wipe. Next, Celine is just a special summon of a Spellcaster in the grave, and it is actually relevant because you have a lot of extra deck space, which is another crazy quality of this deck, by the way. I keep just spoiling the later part. And then Miasma Necromancer, this card is required for one of the combos, and you guys are going to love it. That's it for the details of the cards. I also just wanted to go quickly over some deck details and ratios, and I may stutter here. I'm not going to cut it because I just want this video to be uploaded, but basically you can choose to play less Fairytail cards to pile up on as many Witchcrafter cards as possible. Also, you can choose to keep a clean 40, and that is why I said I didn't play Marka before because I just wanted to keep a clean 40. But Marka is way too good, so I just decided to go 43. But you want to, of course, increase the chances of you drawing a spell, so you are able to special summon the Ver because this is one of your stronger cards. You can also decide to cut the Ver a little bit and play more searches. It makes a lot of sense. Honestly, there is so much that you can do with this deck. You can, again, increase the ceiling a lot by just playing the Magistus engine and also the invoked engine, but it does require a lot more space in the main deck but also in the extra deck, so you cannot play cards such as Exiton and SP. Some other things, as mentioned before, SCHMITTA does not have a ton of targets. It does have a lot of targets because of course you play a lot of Witchcrafter cards, but you can add more Witchcrafter cards. For example, if you want for another way to fuse, you can add Witchcrafter Terracotta. Not my favorite card because it locks you into the Witchcrafter cards if you special summon it from your hand. And also you can add the Witchcrafter Hane, which is target protection and a pop, also as mentioned before, which are definitely really good options, guys. You can definitely consider. And again, because spells are so crucial in this specific deck, you can also choose to just say, no, I don't want to play hand traps, I want to play board breakers. Then you can play cards such as Super Poly, you can play Fallen and Virtues because you do have the space to do so. You can also play Crown, etc. But I do have to warn you guys, big warning, I think you should not do that, at least not in the upcoming format where Toons is amazing, because Toons don't really care too much about spells, except if it's like what Gordian Slicer and I believe like 2 other. Go watch Triff's video for good board breakers against Toons. But I think that you will kind of be forced, sadly, to play cards such as Droll, Ogre, Ashen Purlia. And of course, take everything with a grain of salt because I haven't played like over 100 games in this new format, so the ratios are definitely not perfect. For example, you can definitely consider to play more Walpurgis. You can consider to play more Fairytail Ball. You can, like I said, I think maybe playing 2 Ver is better here. You can even go as far as to say you can go play the Regulus. Now, why did I, choose to not play the Regulus, and why did I kind of stay silent about him? Because I think Regulus is terrible into Toon format. Why? Because, as mentioned in another format, there is this card called Mind Scan. And basically it keeps your hand revealed, meaning you cannot activate Regulus because he needs to reveal another spellcaster in hand, which you cannot do so if your hand is already revealed. So just to sum it up a little bit, definitely feel free to increase the Witchcrafter cards and decrease the Fairytail cards because the Witchcrafter cards are fundamentally stronger. Feel free to add the Magistus package and also feel free to add the Invoke package. It's gonna raise the ceiling, but if you want to keep it clean, make it as consistent as you can, I would just build something like this. So let's then just jump right into the strengths and weaknesses of the deck. So first of all, what makes this deck crazy is that you have many different ways to push with this deck. So because you play 2 different engines, you can for example start with the Fairytail cards that gets you started, but also at the same time, if you start for example with Luna, you can also threaten to bound something on their field. Besides, you play a lot of different kinds of extenders. And the best part of it all, you don't have to play the stupid Magistus engine. I hate the Magistus engine so much. I hate Crowley with all myself. I'm just gonna say it, F Crowley, F Zora. They were never my day 1 homies. I hated them. Like, you know what? Like, day 1 Witchcrafter release, I switch up on my day 1s. I don't care. Those cards are terrible. They're garbage. Don't play that. Like, I'm so happy we finally get ways to play this deck without having to run a ton of breaks, and we get even stronger pushes because the card quality is just that good. Now it also plays better through hand traps, but only specific hand traps. It plays a little bit better into Droll, but at the same time it still doesn't play as amazing into Droll. It also plays a little bit better into Purlia because you more so special summon from the deck. You can just choose to, and mostly if you just open more so of the Witchcrafter cards. Not to mention the ceiling is, I would say, a lot higher as well. You could choose to even raise the ceiling by playing the Invoked engine, but also a little bit of the Magistus stuff. Your extra deck will be a little bit more tight if you do choose to do so, though. Just keep that in mind, right? Also, you have infinite follow-up because of the insane resource management there is to this deck. So basically you have a lot of follow-up because you can just shuffle back with this card. But not only that, but you just have a lot of cards that you can then activate again in the graveyard. Another, in my opinion, big strength of the deck is it is really pilot dependent. If you are a good pilot, if you like learn all of these small niche lines and interactions and all these like micro decisions, because this deck comes with a lot of those. This deck will reward you like no other deck because you can just do that much. Not only that, but as mentioned before, you get a lot of extra deck space. So basically you are able to play cards such as Celine, which there was not really space for before, in my opinion at least. Also, because you play the Witchcrafter cards, you get locked into spellcasters a little bit less often. You still do though, don't get me wrong, but that gives you the option to play, for example, Exiled Knight and SP Little Knight as well. But of course, they're not mandatory, and to be fair, I don't know what else to do with my extra deck space. You can play extra Churrozos, for example. You guys know I love myself an extra Churrozo, but yeah, those are definitely some options. Also, what I consider this deck's greatest strength, and I've mentioned this before multiple times, is that the Witchcrafter cards trade so well through any sort of interruption, really, because they have two different effects, and all of the effects that they have are really strong. And next, I don't even think this has to be mentioned, but this is the last strength I will be going over, but the Fairytail cards offer such amazing interruptions. You basically get an Omni Negate / Baron de Fleur that can also be used to wipe your opponent's board. You get name changes, you get balances, and last but not least, the engines bridge into each other like waves. Next up, the weaknesses of the deck. Now, the main weakness, in my opinion, is it dies to Fuvalos extremely hard. It just, I would say, almost instantly falls to Fuvalos because the Witchcrafter cards kind of special summon from deck a lot. And not only that, but you kind of really want to go into your fusion monsters because they are some of your strongest interruptions. Also, of course, your link monsters, which are also amazing. So the hoverboards through Fuva are really not that good, except if you start with the Fairytail lines, in which me personally, I believe that is better to start with against Fuvalos. Honestly, another pretty glaring weakness, in my opinion, is honestly the Maid of Endymion itself. And now you're gonna ask yourself, how is this possible? Well, actually, the effective search is only activated when this card is special summoned, meaning if you can only normal summon this card from your hand, it is kind of a dead card. That's kind of bad. So again, what you may want to do, just as mentioned before, I said this multiple times now, you may want to just cut one or two there to get more cards that search for the there, for example, the Witchcrafter creations, because then you also have multiple options. For example, if you would rather than in that case have a GENNI, go search a GENNI, you know what I mean? So take that one with a grain of salt, but just keep in mind, you cannot search with there when she's normal summoned. Okay, so for the choke points, I'm just gonna list off what hand traps are really good without really having to worry about any choke points. Perulia is still very good against the deck because Luna basically normal summons. Of course, every deck has to normal summon, so for the first normal summon you get a draw. Majiguru still sometimes is forced to special summon from the hand. The Genia still special summons from the hand, and GENNI, now an additional special summon that special summons itself from the hand. So Perulia is really strong. Joel is also really strong because a lot of cards search. We also have another card that searches now. Another card that is really good is Fuvalos, and this is the best hand trap against this deck there is. There is no better hand trap than Mulcharmy Fuvalos. Besides that, we have one good same old choke point, and that is Fairytail Waycat, because you still need to bridge, and if you only start off with the Witchcrafter cards, you basically will at some point overlay into a Waycat, and then if you get stopped there, then you kind of get stopped from accessing your Fairytail engine at all, which may hurt. Another very big choke point we have received, and this one is kind of new. If you cannot like stop them from stopping the summon sorceress, you're cooked. And this is basically because your one card Luna combo, so Fairytail Luna, really requires you to go into summon sorceress unprotected. Of course, when starting a Yu-Gi-Oh game, you're not gonna start with just one card, so you don't really have to see that as a super realistic scenario, but them stopping summon sorceress is very painful. And again, that is because she is your primary bridge, as you will see in the combo video later. Then another choke point is actually a Bestial Orange Charmer Quartet in Bloom, because I feel like you special summoning back to you from the graveyard may be even more crucial than before. Because Charmer Quartet in Bloom has to special summon both. So basically, if one gets banished, it cannot special summon both, so the effect doesn't resolve at all. Another card that really hurts when it's stopped, but it's not really a card that you can hand trap per se, but it is Witchcrafter Celebration to fuse. If this effect is used to fusion summon and you negate it with, for example, the Psy Framegear Delta, I'm in kind of a bad position. Because of course I want to shuffle back the resources, but I also want to, make some type of interruption or even push through a board. So why is this the best variant? As a wise man once said, I just like this sandwich. Just kidding. Besides me just loving the deck, as mentioned, has just so many pluses. It is the best variant just because it doesn't play bricks, it's consistent, it's nice, it raises the ceiling, and it has multiple awesome lines that really show who is a good pilot and who isn't. I do have to say though, I do not recommend this deck for newer / beginning players because it gets a little bit too complex in certain interruptions / interactions. So now for the side deck patterns and side decking options. So basically this is what worked very well for me. I don't like Lancia too much, so just remove Lancia, and honestly Trap Eater isn't too crazy, you can just play it as a 2-up, so you have 2 more slots for whatever you like. I do think there are some cards that you just have to play, either it be on the side or in the main deck, so I'm just gonna tell them right off the bat. Prolia, Fuvalos, Droll, Ogre, Vedos. Those are cards you have to play in Toon format, in my humble opinion. Some other cards you can really think of using, and this is mostly if you play over 40 cards, it is the Psy Framegear cards. Mostly the Delta, the Spell Trap Negate, is really good against Toon, so if you want to play this package, definitely consider side decking or main decking it. So now for the best part, the combos. So what does this deck actually do? Well, let's see. We're also playing 14 card extra deck here for some reason, but first of all, I have to shout out my viewer who actually sent in these replays, and multiple of these replays are of my viewers that I asked, what do you think is the best Fairytail Witchcrafter combo? Because I showed them what I thought it was, but they actually improved on it. So if you want to join theorizing and, making combos and stuff, make sure to join the Discord down in the description below. So basically this is a 1.5 card combo starting off with Luna and a spell. So we go normal summon Luna, Luna effect, we search for the Genia, we go Genia effect, targeting the Luna here to special summon itself, we overlay into the Wicked effect, send the Magigiro and the Tails, Magigiro effect to special summon, Magigiro effect to search, we will search for the ball, that will probably search for the Luna, which it does, we equip the Tails to normal summon the Luna, we equip it to the Magigiro because it's unaffected. Luna, search for Luna. Then we link away into the Miasma Necromancer, and this is actually a new one. We can sack the spell to normal summon, additionally normal summon the Luna, which is extremely strong here. Very, very strong. Let's read this card real quick. If this card is a link summon, you can add 1, so this one we never activate, but you can send 1 spell trap card from your hand or field to the graveyard immediately after this effect resolves. Normal summon 1 spellcaster monster. Very good for this combo specifically. We then proceed to link away the Necromancer and the Luna for the Summon Sorceress. Summon Sorceress effect, we give our Snow to special summon the Jenny that we received in the same set, I believe, as the Regulus. Then we link away the Summon Sorceress and the Jenny for Charmer Quartet and Bloom. Then we special summon the Jenny and the Luna with Charmer Quartet and Bloom. And very nice, because again, this card is so nice. It can banish anything on the field, but then also you can then fuse with it, because you couldn't just because of Charmer Quartet, but because it's off the field, it's a new card, you then can fuse with that card. So we special summon the Ver, the quote-unquote new Ver, which searches us for Witchcraft Celebration. Then we contact fuse into Chorozo with Charmer Quartet and Bloom and the Ver. We use the effect to fuse, and we shuffle back the Jenny and the Charmer Quartet and Bloom to fusion summon Witchcrafter Vice Madam. Keep in mind, guys, the stuff that you do use to fuse is very relevant always. So we go Chainlink 1, Wake targeting the Luna, Chainlink 2, Luna targeting the Snow to bounce back the Snow and special summon. And then Chainlink 3, Witchcraft Vice Madam, because Basically, it says when a spell card or effect or a non-fusion spellcaster monster is activated, which it was, then you can activate one of these effects, and we basically just added back the Witchcrafter spell from the graveyard back to the hand. Crazy combos, right? It's like so much is happening. It's insane. So many small things you have to keep track of. Anyways, chain resolves, Luna bounces the snow, and now the Wicked from the Graves gets special summoned. Now we use the effect to fuse, and again, because we use an effect of a spell card or a non-fusion monster, in this case a spell, we can use one of these effects. So first off, we fusion summon for some reason, even though this was chain link too. Or was that a misclick? No, it wasn't. Anyways, that beside, we did fusion summon, and we did special summon the SCHMITTA from the deck. We can use SCHMITTA effect and getting rid of the celebration to then special summon a Witchcrafter from the deck. We special summon the GENNI, and then apparently we link her away together with Majigiru and the Chorozo for the Celine. Again, guys, Celine is actually used like pretty nicely in this combo. So then we apparently use SCHMITTA effect, banishing her to add, to dump the Witchcrafter creation from deck to the graveyard. And then we can actually use the effect of GENNI to banish itself and the Witchcrafter celebration to then proceed to fuse into the new Witchcrafter pupils. That will get us the Ver Magic Lacrima of the Light from the deck, which we can then activate, shuffling back 2 cards. Oh, that is for the pupils, I believe? I know when we shuffle back 2 cards, I didn't notice, but this card can send the quick play from a deck to the graveyard, then we can trigger the quick play to set it, and then we can use Celine to revive the Luna, which then we can special summon Charmer, Quartet, and Bloom. So if you're wondering why we did this, it is because this is a new copy of the card, so in the opponent's turn, we can just use this effect again to just special summon 2 cards from the grave, which is crazy because we can special summon like Chorozo and Luna or Chorozo and Snow. And we can have Wicked to, remove it. And we also have the quick play to then special summon this Luna from hand as well. Like, this is so crazy. Yeah, also in the end phase, creation gets added back to the hand. And that's it. But this is so crazy, guys. This is so nice. And keep in mind, there are so many variations that you can play with. And this was just one Luna and one spell card. Let's go to the next combo. So the next combo, again by our beloved Luka, is going to be Witchcrafter GENNI with 2 discards, right? So we normal summon GENNI and we instantly use her effect. We will send her to the graveyard. I believe it's a tribute, right? Yeah, it's a tribute, and we can discard the spell, and then discards, in this case it's the crown in our hand. We special summon the Ver from deck. We use their effect to search for the field spell, and we can activate the field spell effect to search for the quote-unquote old GENNI that was released in a set, same set as the Regulus. And then in resolution, I believe we have to discard 1 card, which will be the Purulia. So it is quote-unquote expensive, but it works amazing because now we can special summon the GENNI, and we can use her effect. We can banish her. It's not for cost, once again, guys, just so you know, to special summon the SCHMITTA. We will now use the effect of SCHMITTA. Oh no, we won't, I believe. Will we? Yes, we will. I got confused there for a second. I forgot that the field spell actually lets you, instead of discard a spell from hand, it lets you dump a spell or a trap from deck. So he dumps the Witchcrafter celebration to use the effect of SCHMITTA technically for free, if you can count it that way, We special summon another Ver, and now we use the effect of GENNI, and the GENNI will banish the fusion spell, the celebration, to fusion summon the Witchcrafter pupils. Now we can activate the effect of Witchcrafter pupils to search for the Ver Magic Lacrima of Light. Now we can overlay the 2 4s into the Wicked, which will then send 2, which will be Majigiru and Tails. We can activate Majigiru to search probably for the ball, which we do. Yes, we search for the ball. We will activate ball. Yes, we activate ball for the Luna. Now we can equip the Tails to additional normal summon the Luna effect to search for a Snow. We will use the effect to fuse. We will use Snow and Wicked for the Teller. And now we are linking away. Okay. 3 monsters. So the Teller, the Majigiru, and the Luna for the Celine, which will then revive Teller. And then we instantly link away into Charmer, Quartet, and Bloom. Charmer, Quartet, and Bloom effect to revive Fairytail, Luna, and Teller. And then we can activate the effect of Ver Magic Lacrima of Light to dump the Once Upon a Fairytale, which will then trigger, of course, because it has been sent. And it's not even over, because then we use SCHMITTA effect to dump a spell trap from deck to graveyard, which will be Witchcrafter Celebration. Now, in the end phase, I believe the card returns, because it says, well, this card is if you control a Witchcrafter monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. Amazing. So I believe we also get it back to the hand, but we also have pupils. Yeah, celebration also is added to the hand. All is amazing. We can use the effect to reveal to use the effect to pop. Oh, we can even fuse in this case, which is also awesome. Just special summon device madam. I didn't even think about that. And then we have all these effects, all these forms of interruptions. To search, to special summon from deck, Fairytail Snow, Once Upon a Fairytale. This is just amazing, guys. And this was all one Genni, by the way, which used to be an unplayable brick in the past. Okay, guys, so I think this will be the last combo, and it will be just the basically 1.5 card SCHMITTA combo. So I have 2 spells I wanted to discard, but I realized mid combo that you just need 1 spell to discard. So basically forget I have a talent in hand. So I basically just have a called by and a SCHMITTA. So we start off again by normal summoning SCHMITTA effect. We will discard the called by to special summon the Genni from the deck. I will just slow down the game 1 sec. Okay, it should be slowed down now, right? So we go Genni effect, and we special summon the quote-unquote new Verd, the Maid of Endymion. And that card will search us for the celebration, the fusion spell basically. We link away the Ver into the Artemis, and then we go Witchcrafter celebration effect to shuffle back the Ver, so the Ver, the Maiden of Endymion, and the Genni that we banished. So that is the reason why we went through the Genni. So we have resources to use to make the fusion, and that is what brings so much complexity into the deck. So why haven't we used the SCHMITTA effect yet? It is so we can trigger the Vice Madam. As we can see right here, we go SCHMITTA effect, and then we chain the Vice Madam to special summon from the deck. So we special summon the Ver, and the SCHMITTA will send from the deck to the graveyard the Genni. So now we will go Genni effect to apply the fusion effect of the fusion spell Celebration. And we will fusion summon the pupils by using basically our only resources in the grave, so Genni and the SCHMITTA. And the pupils will now activate its effect to search for the Ver Magic Lacrima of Light, which is a really strong extender for if your opponent activates an effect, but is also going to have another usage right here, because we will actually use it right away to send, yes, you saw that right, Majgiru from the deck to the graveyard. It's almost like we're using this card as an in-engine piece. Because you are asking yourself, how are we going to get an 1850 attack spellcaster on the field to special summon the Majgiru? Well, simple answer, the Link 2. Link 2 will equip Link 1, and this is actually very important here, because there isn't, well, it doesn't matter if it's the Link 1 per se, but this has a reason. So we will trigger the, or well, we will activate the Majgiru here to special summon Majgiru effect to search for Fairytail Ball. We will activate Fairytail Ball to search for the Luna. And now we contact fuse in the Chirozo with the Artemis and the Link 2. Now we have 2 level 4s, and wow, they're spellcasters. No way, in the spellcaster deck. So we XYZ overlay into Wicket. Wicket effect, we can send 2 cards from deck to graveyard, and we will send the Quick Play and Tails. Quick Play will trigger, set itself, and Tails may equip to the Wicket to additional normal summon Luna. Luna will search as the snow, and now we can go into our good old Teller. So this is where the combo ends, I believe. Yeah, so there are a couple of things you can do here. If you don't really love / value the Luna bounce, a thing you could do is just link, for example, these 3 away, and then go into the Link 4 to protect yourself from Super Poly. And with the Link 4, I mean Charmer Quartet and Bloom, of course. So then you're protected from the Super Poly, which is super nice in this specific scenario. But also, if you have a spellcaster in hand, you can also just go into Summon Sorceress for another sort of, let's say, silly line. But yeah, that was it for this combo. So I believe for the other combos, they kind of speak for themselves. I also do believe it's very similar. Like all of these, let's say 1 card combos or 1.5 card combos / 2 card combos really work similarly. So I think if you really want to, you know, make a 1 card combo with Witchcrafter Marka, I definitely think you could. If you guys want, I can make a separate follow-up just combo guide with specific 2 card combos and how to play it through specific interruptions with this specific deck. If you want to see me playing with this deck, you can check out my old VOD live stream against Toons. It's literally called Playtesting Against Toons, and you can really see this deck in action, even though I didn't like fully master it yet. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. This video took me way too long to make, and it was way too difficult, basically for nothing. So I would really appreciate if you could drop a like and maybe a subscribe. If you know of a better combo, or if you know some, let's say, spicy cards that you can put in the deck to make it even stronger, please let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching once again, and goodbye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.